favorite chronically Caucasian vocal analyst, here to listen to a song that even I've heard about, despite putting my head into the sand forever. This is So You Want to Be My Baby or something. It was that tune, but like the right words. That's what that. Yeah, let's go on.
It's do do do.
Oh yeah.
Do 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 down. That's good.
Come on, back up.
Do down. Good. Very good crowd.
Unbeknownst to everybody, Mariah is actually a conductor. No big. There's so much we can learn from Mariah. And it's true for any like great singer, right? We can learn a lot about technique. We can learn a lot about artistic choices. But specifically, Mariah is a phenomenal recording artist. It is not common that people are one and the same, at least nowadays. Back in the 90s and 80s and beforehand, when audio was unbelievably expensive, it was uncommon that you had the opportunity to record, right? That's something I talk a lot about in Mariah videos. She has been a recording artist from a very young age, I believe the age of 13, if not 12. So she has had a lot of experience in doing overdubs. And there's so much you can do with vocal overdubs, and she doesn't do just one thing. And so the result is that a lot of these song arrangements have incredibly interesting vocals, and the way it's mixed is really interesting. And then it translates well live with these incredible singers that she has. So it's just really awesome. I like it. And the vowels here kind of give a lot of emphasis, right? Do-do-do, down, right? Going back to vowels, let's look at how the lips are pursed here. Adds a little bit of depth to the sound. So the pursing of the lips will add a bit of a roundness because you're literally extending the vocal tract. And if you're really, really interested in the minutiae of this, I did a video on this of Chloe and Hallie and how they're so good at blending. And I talk a lot about this stuff, but that's a very technical video. So, but the pursing of the lips literally elongates the vocal tract, and so you're going to get more low end. On top of that, she's getting up right close to the mic. Proximity effect. The two together, you're going from to right? Significantly more low end to this. And again, it's not just a matter of like, you know, getting more low end in. It's not just a matter of you know, trying to make up for a lack of volume in the low end. It's interesting because you can do these nice smooth, like if you have your lips pursed, it's not jarring. There's not a lot of cut. It's a lot smoother of a tone. And then by going to these bright vowels, the contrast is very sharp. So it's a cool device, and it's very simple. It's very simple. We could all do this, but we don't. Like Rochelle Farrell is great at it. I mean, there's so many singers that are really, really good at it. Samo does it very interesting. But yeah, it's just a really cool trick to kind of pay attention to, because it's a simple thing, but it adds so much. This chorus is so freaking good. From every angle of it. It's catchy as heck. It's super freaking catchy. It sounds great. And then the way that they're blending in with each other is really, really excellent. Kudos to whoever is on the mixing board. That is not easy. The singers are clearly doing a great job, but whoever is running the audio is obviously really, really, really good. So the lows and the mids on the backup singer they've basically been gutted. But they're gutted specifically whenever Mariah comes in. And what that ends up doing, when finally that last little note comes in, everything just like homogenizes and it's a beautiful, people say wall of sound because all the, it's like all the frequencies are being hit, right? So it's a wall of sound. I kind of resent that statement here. It's beautiful. Yes, it's a very thick sound, but it's done so gently, which is such a cool thing, right? Like, it's so easy to do something loud and dramatic, but it's dramatic and it's a lot, but it's done with nuance, which I think is a really interesting choice. I ain't gonna cry, no, and I won't beg you to stay. Also, I just want to point out, it's very, very, very early to use, like, I mean, I guess in the 80s, there was like this sort of synth explosion. But to use this specifically for drumming is a very interesting choice. Drum machines are not new, and certainly by this point, in 96, they're not new. But it's very interesting to have the electronic kit on stage, because this hit, I'm pretty sure, is a clap on the snare. Yeah, I don't think that comes from an acoustic set, but it's just really interesting. I want to talk about these low notes. This breathiness on the low end is interesting. Right? So this goes back to her doing these onsets versus, like, so the way she starts a note is very, very interesting. She'll, right? The abrupt sound that ends up happening, that sort of click sound. That. So that's an abrupt onset. That. And it's preposterously on time. It's right on top of the snare. Look at how relaxed she is. I'm so envious. She's like, someone asked me before, like, how do you get comfortable performing? You know, and how do you not get like bombarded with anxiety? And the answer is confidence. But not in the way that it's generally. People confuse, like, confidence is earned. Confidence happens when you've done something a gajillion times, you know how it's going to go. If something goes off, you can fix it. Like, that's confidence. And anything short of that is bravado. So if your confidence is not earned, you should have a little bit of anxiety. And in fact, actually, I think most things go wrong in performing when you don't have any anxiety. But her nerves, I mean, this woman's got nerves of steel. She is so calm. She is so relaxed. That is not easy. Is that a pop modulation? Huh. If it is, it's a subtle one. Usually pop modulations are like, you know, and then you just go, right, you go up a half step. But it looks like not every instrument was playing during that pop modulation, which makes it a bit more subtle. Pop modulations are very, very, very jarring. Classical people tend to go, you know, they say it's, you know, it's like egregious or ugly, you know, but it's just it's a fun way to take the melody and repeat it, but give it something new by bringing it up. What's that tune? You Raise Me Up is basically like three pop modulations, and that keeps the song actually quite interesting. It's interesting that, you know, so this is a wonderful classical sound that just came out of her mouth. That's not like totally classical, but the thyroid tilt is what's giving the vibrato and the lushness of sound. So a lot of folks ask me if they think, if I think that Mariah's mother being an opera singer has anything to do with Mariah's technique. And I'm going to say no. One, because that's what she said in an interview. But two, there's distinct differences. Like when you use a thyroid tilt here to get this vibrato, you're generally not going to go with such a brighter vowel. It depends. And furthermore, when there's a lot of gender roles in opera. Women are generally requested to get a lot more of a hootier sound, a lot more mix. This would be, what she's doing right here would be like what a tenor would do, what a baritone would do, which is they try to keep as much vocal closure as possible as they ascend. And the sound, I like it a lot. But I think it just goes to show that she's very much her own artist. It's very interesting. The variety in tone that she gets, like, again, it's like it goes back to what I was saying with the vowels. Like, it's such a simple thing to do that people like forget to do. But like, there's never a belt that's the same. There's never a note that's the same. She's so playful, right? I don't think she sat down with her music and like mapped it out with a pen or anything like that. Like, I think it's just a matter of how playful she is, and that kind of gets all these different qualities. That's a very, very, very smooth legato phrase. Worth hearing again. It's just butter. It's butter. These growls here, they're so good. And that, like, and I'm talking about like technically. Growling is not generally like a really good feeling. A way you can practice it is like, imagine you're lifting weights, right? You have to be so careful, because so if you go low, right? And then go like you're lifting weights and then kind of slide up gently. Even if you do it well, it doesn't feel good, right? You can get really good at it, but ultimately, you know, when the false folds start rattling like that, and your real folds are adducted, it's not a fun feeling. So that's why most metal screaming is usually done without pitch, because then the false folds, which are really sturdy, they're just really thick pieces of cartilage surrounded by flesh, and so when they kind of rattle, it's of no consequence. And so most screaming technique is based around that. But when you do the false folds together and you adduct your true folds, you're going to get in a kind of a precarious position, because the real folds don't like it, and you can feel it, even if you're doing it well. But what is doing it well? Doing it well is doing it gently. Listen to how, aside from the rattling sound, aside from the growl, there's almost no sound otherwise. You see how it actually, like her actual voice, as soon as those growls come up, they're kind of like, it's kind of like her voice is actually kind of fading away. right? That's what I mean by the really, really well done. For her to have an hour left of singing and be throwing around growls, I mean, come on, that's preposterous. It is always a good idea to make a chorus in a pop tune just a bunch of syllables. What is that? There's that tune. God, I forget who his name is. Oh my god, it was a really popular tune. Like, but there's so many examples of just like putting in like just syllables and then making that the chorus. Because I mean, at that point, how can you not sing along to it, right? So if an onset is the start of a note, an offset is the end of a note. And listen how smooth this kind of just trails off. It's seamless. Gorgeous.